Food is often thought of as fuel for the body, but it could also be used as medicine. Allie Miller, registered dietitian with Naturally Nourished, is here to explain, and she's going to share a simple, healthy recipe as well. And we're talking about, before the break, we were talking about bacteria,
yes.
you know. And when I think about bacteria and food together, I think contaminated.
Sure, sure.
But that's not always the case.
Well, the reality is 3 to 5 pounds of the human body is living bacteria. And so,
yucky.
Yes. So you can deduct that from the scale next time you weigh yourself.
Okay.
So not too bad from Thanksgiving, hey? But yeah, we want to choose the desired bacterial organisms that can function for our body.
Mm-hmm.
If we eat the probiotic foods, that'll help to set up a camp of the good guys and fight off the bad bacteria. So it actually really helps to boost our immune system.
Okay, so what is a probiotic and where do we get them?
Sure. So the word probiotic means for life, so it is a living organism that grows on a food.
Okay.
And so a typical one that we think of is yogurt. One of my favorite lines here is this Nancy's Organic Yogurt. They've actually done third-party research with different medical studies, and they will list out, the high-quality yogurts will actually list out their probiotic strains, and you'll see this one has 6 different cultures that they're going to list out. The L. acidophilus, the Thermophilus, the Bifidum cultures, and what have you. The yogurts that just say live active cultures are not going to be as high of quality.
Okay.
So that's a really easy one. Kefir is another fermented dairy product. It's more like a liquid smoothie type beverage. Also, we're going to do a sauerkraut today. That's going to be a probiotic food, a fermented vegetation.
But do you get the same effect if you just buy it in the can?
Well, no. If it's at shelf temperature and it's been canned, it's been heated in the canning process.
Oh, so that killed everything.
Off.
Okay,
yeah.
so that you don't get the same
But
benefits.
these are 2 grocery store brands. This is Bubby's, and it'll say there, you know, that this is abundant with live cultures. This will be found in your refrigerated section of your grocery store.
Very interesting. Okay.
But you can also make them at home.
Well,
really,
yeah, get us started on
sure.
making some good for you, good for the bacteria
2
stuff.
different approaches. The old school way of doing sauerkraut is to basically just massage it with a little bit of salt. When you use salt with the vegetation, it allows some of the lactic acid to release from the vegetables, and that's going to create a different pH change in the vegetation, which will produce more of the probiotics and not allow the negative bacteria to grow.
So this is just cabbage.
Yep, so this is just cabbage, and what you could do with this method is it would take about 5 minutes to massage basically enough liquid out of this so that the cabbage was going to be covered in water from the water that's been given off. And then I would pack this into the jar and allow the water to stay at the top. I'll show you a simple kind of shortcut. You can actually make a brine solution. So what I'll do here is just add about a tablespoon of sea salt to some water, some filtered water. And you're going to whisk that. And then what you can do is you can use any vegetable. So I can start with some cabbage in my jar. I can add in, I'm going to kind of use the rainbow approach. I'm going to do some yellow beets here. So I'm getting those nice polyphenols and carotenoids. I'm getting my red beets as well. I'm going to throw in some bell pepper to get the orange and maybe some carrot. Maybe some fresh parsley for flavor. You can also flavor with, I have some fresh, some dried dill, some cracked red pepper, and then I'm going to throw in on top some prebiotics, which we haven't talked about yet. This is a
what is that?
sunchoke. So prebiotics are foods that the probiotic bacteria thrive on.
Okay.
And so you'll see, like Dannon Activia, the special thing about that yogurt, Jamie Lee Curtis does a good job with it, is that it has the inulin in it. And inulin is a prebiotic starch. Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes are one of the highest sources of inulin. You can use them with root vegetables, and you can also put them into your ferments to help the bacteria to grow.
So then you fill this up with that brine?
Yes, so I'm going to fill it up with my brine, and my last thing to do is to just make sure it's covered in the water. So I'm going to kind of pack it down, and that's very important because this is anaerobic growth, so it can't have oxygen.
Okay.
So it has to be packed underwater, and then I'm going to take my cabbage leaf and kind of fold like a little lid. I filled it a little high. Dump a little out there. Fold on a lid like that with the cabbage, and then I'll put my top on. And all of these vegetables, these beautiful vegetables, will ferment. You want to keep them at about 70 degrees. So just shelf temperature. 3 to 5 days. I like to keep mine for 7 for optimal growth. And there's your medicine in a jar.
All right, this is available at HoustonTexasFood.com, HoustonTexasFood.com. And you're sure that that's not going to grow any botulism?
No, the pH change with the brine actually only encourages the probacteria growth. So you'll have a lactobacilli, the acidophilus, going to help the immune system, going to prevent cancer, going to be a clean way to preserve organic foods.
That's awesome. Allie, very cool stuff. All right, hopefully Chris was paying attention, but he's over there with Yvette Gorey-Harris. And I'm going to tell on Chris. I saw him eating a donut over there in the newsroom.
Oh,
so
man.
yeah, Yvette's going to have him do some squats.
Okay, let me be clear. That wasn't a donut. It was an egg and ham filled kolache, and that was my third. Is that bad?